Russian President Vladimir Putin's image took a major hit during Yevgeny Prigozhin's short-lived rebellion. For the first time in decades, the Russian leader looked vulnerable. Today, Putin told members of the Russian military they had stopped a civil war, but Prigozhin's rebellion wasn't crushed or defeated in the battlefield. The march on Moscow only stopped after a deal was struck with the leader of Belarus and Russian and Putin ally, Alexander Lukashenko. Prigozhin himself isn't facing prosecution. Instead, he and his loyalists face exile in Belarus. The extraordinary unrest inside Russia's borders comes as Ukraine mounts a major counteroffensive inside its own borders. Petro Poroshenko served as president of Ukraine from 2014 to 2019. He is in Kyiv. So, Mr. Poroshenko, some dramatic events with this short-lived Wagner leader rebellion. What's your assessment of what we've seen unfold in the last couple of days?
This is a very important event, and I know Wagner Group since year 2014, when 20,000 Wagner fighters, which actually was Russian soldiers, attacking the east of Ukraine in Donbass and Donetsk and Lugansk region. And when I was elected to the president, Donbass was already occupied by Wagner. And I give order for the offensive operation and release 2/3 of the occupied Donbass. But then Putin used this terroristic instrument for continual fighting in Ukraine, for fighting in Syria, in African countries, in many other countries in the world, providing that that is the methods of Russian foreign policy, using the terroristic organization. Now, Putin has results of gin who was go out from the bottle. And when Wagner Group appeared in Russia, when Wagner Group was sent to fight again in Ukraine, in Bakhmut, in Solidar, Ukrainian troops, Ukrainian armed forces who were created by me since year 2014 by the NATO standard, stopped them. And Wagner understand that this is impossible, and this is just a provement that the terroristic policy of the Russian state, of the Russian president, because today it was very important message from Putin that Putin spending the Russian budget money to finance the Wagner terroristic group. And this is another argument why the world should recognize Russia as a terroristic state, as a state-sponsored terrorism, with the respectable results on the legal prosecution of the Russian action. And Wagner Group is just another evidence. And I think, by the way, that this is too dangerous for Belarusian dictator to invite Wagner to Belarus. I absolutely confident that this is dangerous, first of all, not for Ukraine, probably not for Russia, but for Belarus itself.
You know, you made a good point there that Vladimir Putin acknowledged publicly that they have been paying the Wagner Group after sort of denying these formal links. But I wonder, sir, what's your assessment of Prigozhin's rebellion and what it says about Putin's strength and the grip he has on power in Russia?
This is another very important result of the military coup d'etat. This is just a demonstration how weak is Putin. He's a coloss on the sand ground, and with the now not all the world see this message, but this is just a demonstration to the Russian itself, the limits of the Putin power. Putin is not anymore the unvulnerable leader, and his image now damaged completely. Nobody in Russia now believes, because beforehand he was a macho. He was flying with the birds. He make another very interesting tricks. He is not leader anymore. And this is extremely important message to demonstrate how weak is the Russian leadership.
So all of this is happening as your country has launched its long-awaited counteroffensive. I mean, how does Ukraine take advantage of this? Does this bode well for the military campaign of your armed forces over the next couple of weeks?
My request, please do not overestimate the results of the counteroffensive operation. Our counteroffensive operation is not the victory yet. Mm-hmm. Point number two, that we are now on the stage, and I know that exactly because only today I returned back from a meeting with our brigade, which participated in the counteroffensive operation, delivering them the military truck, artillery truck, and many, many other things, including UAV. And I can confirm you that today is a preliminary stage on the counteroffensive operation. This is a reconnaissance by fire, and we just to choose what is the most promising direction for the attack of Ukrainian troops among at least 5 we have in our disposal. And we waiting the first development of the situation within a couple of weeks. And I just want to deliver you that even at the preliminary stage, when we use only 30% of the troops which plan to participate in the offensive operation, we already release more Ukrainian soil than Russia captured during the all Russian winter campaign. And this is not a Hollywood movie, and Ukraine pay very high prices for that. And Russia is still very, very strong. Russia is a second or maybe the first nuclear potential power in the world. And that's why Ukraine now doing the job for the whole civilized world, for the whole world of the freedom and democracy. And with that situation, at least Ukraine need continue weapon supply, receive a jet fighter, because I saw how difficult it is for Ukrainian soldiers and how dominant is Russian Air Force in Ukrainian sky. With that situation, first of all, I want to stress extremely important the Canadian leadership. I see your Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, just a week ago during his visit to Ukraine, Chrystia Freeland, and I want to thank the Canadian people, the Canadian Parliament, bipartisan, the Canadian government for the leadership and enormous support, and please increase and continue. This is the factor of our joint victory.
Petro Poroshenko, as always, I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.